In this lecture, presented by www.free-academy.com, we're going to practice our trigonometric derivatives by doing problems 1 and 2 out of the book. Problem 1 is a simple problem. It's y equals 2 cosine of x minus 3 sine of x, which is going to use the first two trigonometric derivatives that I have written here on the right. So the only question that we're going to face in this problem is, what do we do with these constants? As long as you have these, you're going to be fine. Before we start doing this problem here, I just want to make a quick note. I'm going to leave all of these written while we practice our trig derivatives, but it's very important that you commit these to memory, because oftentimes in exams, or depending on your teacher, you're not going to have these available. Plus, and this is more important, it's not going to be very efficient for you to do calculus if you don't have your basic derivative rules memorized. You need to have them like a muscle. Whenever you see something, you know exactly how to go about solving it because you are so familiar with the different derivative rules. So it's very important you memorize these and you memorize them well. But anyways, enough of that. Let's do problem 1. We want to find the derivative of y with respect to x, or y prime. And when we do this, it's the same as applying our derivative to both our functions here. Minus d by dx of 3 sine of x. So to find the derivative with respect to y, we distribute out the derivative. This is something that we covered right in the beginning of the derivatives with the derivative rules. The next thing that we covered is that the constants always come out in front of the derivatives. So we have y prime is equal to 2 times the derivative of cosine of x minus 3 times the derivative of sine of x. And this is the point of the problem where you just simply either look up your formulas or, much better, remember your formulas to get that y prime is equal to 2 times the derivative of cosine of x, which is negative sine of x. And I have the negative out in front here. And this is going to be minus 3 times the derivative of sine of x, which is equal to cosine of x. And there we have the answer to problem 1. Now we're going to go on and do problem 2. And this is actually my second time doing this lecture because I kept making very silly mistakes in doing this problem the first attempt I had of it. Alright, there we go. We have the derivative. We're going to try to find the derivative of sine of x times cosine of x. Now, I'm hoping at this point when you look at this problem, you recognize that this is the product rule. We got two different functions here multiplied by each other. So just before we get into that, remember with the product rule, it would be incorrect to say that this is equal to the derivative of sine of x times the derivative of cosine of x. Now, this is incorrect use of the derivatives. When they distribute out through positive signs, through additions and subtractions, but whenever you have multiplications or derivatives, you need to use the product rule. So y prime is going to be equal to f prime times g plus g prime times f. So we're going to need f, we're going to need f prime, we'll need g, and we'll need g prime. And once we have those four different values, we can plug them into our product rule and we'll get the answer. Now we already assigned f as sine of x and g as cosine of x. So we're going to need the derivative of f, which is the derivative of sine of x, which is equal to cosine of x. And then we'll need the derivative of cosine of x, which is negative sine of x. Now that we have that, let's put it all together. F prime cosine of x times g, which is cosine of x, and this will be plus g prime, which is negative sine of x, times f, which is sine of x. Now you have cosine times cosine and sine times sine, so y prime is equal to cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. And there we have problems 1 and 2. And we're going to do lots and lots more practice problems, so stick with it. Make sure you get all your questions answered, and if we haven't answered them all by the end of this, make sure you send us in those questions so that we can make you a video.